Okay, so next I think we want to add the nut at the end of the neck. That's that little piece of bone that goes right on the end of the fretboard and kind of elevates the strings above it. But in order to do that, we're going to need a little bit more information than we have in our current master model. We're going to have to actually make a modification, or more precisely, we're going to have to add something to our master model. So let's open up that master model right from our assembly here, and we'll see that currently we don't have positions for the strings. We do have a curve here that we've called nut height that actually defines the height of the nut, which is useful, but we need to know where the positions of the strings are. Now we have created an E string sketch, if you'll recall correctly. I believe it is right in here somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. There it is, the E string, and that would be the high E string, but we don't have any of the lower strings on this guy yet. So let's go to the front soundboard plane and create a sketch. And within that sketch, I'm going to go up to my points tool and create a point that represents my low E string. Now while I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and do the A, D, G, and B strings, and I'm going to put one for the high E string as well. And then I will go to my line tool, grab a center line, and I'm going to put a center line straight up the middle here. Okay, so we've got a center line just sitting here right in the middle of our guitar body. Now I can take this point, we can snap it right to that existing E string, so that's locked down, it turns black. I can select this guy, control-click that center line, and control-click the high E string, and then I can make those symmetric. That's going to lock down my low E string. Now to do the in-between points, I think the easiest way to do it is to grab a center line, start at one end, and then say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is that very last one. Now I can select each one of these segments by control-clicking them, and then I can set them to be equal with the make equal constraint. And now those guys are going to be equally distanced all the way across, and I can take these points and I can just snap them right on top of those existing points on my sketch. So I have explicit points in those places. So if we do pattern geometry or anything later on, we can very easily use this geometry. Now this is really close to a midpoint here, so I want to make sure I get it just right. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to repeat that exact process at the other end of the guitar, because I need to do that again down here at the saddle as well. So I'll grab my front soundboard, create a sketch, head down to my saddle, and I'm going to repeat that same process. Okay, with those sketches in place, once again, let's try to keep organized here. I'm going to take this that first sketch, we'll call that our string positions nut. And I'll take this other one, we'll call this string positions saddle. And if I can, I'm going to take those and drag them all the way back into our profiles folder here, so that those are, looks like I accidentally snapped to something there when I was creating this guy. So if this happens, sometimes if you make external references you didn't intend to, you may need to find them and delete them. And so in this case, I've referenced something from this plane by accident when I was creating my sketch, which is not allowing me to put it, before that point in my history tree. So what I can do is come up here to my add or display and delete relations tool, which lets me find any external references. And in this case, we have an external reference right there to that planar edge, and I'm guessing that that's the problem. So I can delete that, and it looks like if I take this instead, whoops, now if I can grab my right plane and this guy, I could make those collinear, and I'm hoping that that will do the trick. Let's see if that lets me put this where I want it. Yep, perfect, that's all it was. So using that display/delete relations tool to find dangling or problematic dimensions can be really, really powerful. All right, so let's move on.